Hi, this is Rev May. Welcome to my podcast. Glad to have you here today. If you get a chance, bottom right hand corner is a red button. If you could click on that, and if you give me a thumbs up, it'll help me get my videos pushed out where I can reach a larger audience and get offered to people. They don't offer it to nobody right now, so I need more. Thank you so much for everyone that has subscribed. Today we're going to talk about what's behind your smile, all right? A lot of people are smiling, but they're really not having a good day. A lot of people are smiling and things aren't going well in their life. So we need to talk about that and see what's going on. Psalms 30 verse 5. For his anger is but for a moment. His favor is for a lifetime. Weeping may last for a night, but a shout of joy comes in the morning. All right, you may be weeping today, but tomorrow you may be shouting. Things will change in your life, all right? We should pray and read our Bibles and don't give up. Things will change. This too shall pass, whatever you're going through. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that every problem will pass easy. Some will pass like you're passing a kidney stone, all right? But it will pass, all right? And believe me, I had a kidney stone. And the nurses told me, they said, now you know what it feels like to have a baby. I said, I'm surprised we have any population in the United States if this is what you have to go through to have a baby. It was the worst pain I ever had in my life. I had major stomach surgery, all right, back in the 70s. And, that's back when they kept you in the hospital forever. I was in 16 days. They wanted to keep me 21. I spent 4 days in intensive care, 4 days in progressive care before they ever put me in a room. And had 2 tubes coming out of me, 2 IVs. It was a mess. And I never went through so much pain as I did when I had that kidney stone. But it too shall pass. Things will pass. Seasons change. Why? Seasons change. And you move on to a new season in your life. Eventually you get by your problem. You get a call at work. One of your kids fell down a flight of stairs at school, broke their leg. It's a real problem. They're in pain. You got to meet them up at the hospital. You got to get things taken care of. Then you got to figure out how you're going to get the kid in and out of car when they can't bend their leg and they got a cast going straight out, and you've got some problems. All right, but eventually this will pass, and then you're on to a new season in life. Don't sit around and think that just because things are bad today, that's the way it's going to be. That's not going to happen. Seasons change. Behind every smile, sometimes there's a breaking heart. Sometimes there's a person that's weeping inside because of the problems they're facing. Maybe they don't have enough money to put food on the table. Maybe they're having a hard time making their house payment. Maybe they have a relative who their mother, their father, brother, sister, who got a bad diagnosis and they're dying. All right? They smile at work. It reminds me of that commercial where the people, it looks like a little fan, but has a face on the front of it, a smiley face, and they hold it up in front of their face. And they're smiling, but behind that smile is not a smile. All right? Their heart's broken. It's hard sometimes in life. We all face mostly the same things, mostly. I lost my mother and father. Losing both them was very bad for me. I was not thrilled about burying my father and my mother. I loved them with all my heart, and I felt a hole in my life. But seasons change. Do I think about them every day? Do I grieve? No. But do I love them? Oh, yes. Do I look at pictures of them, and do I have pictures up on the wall? Sure do. Doesn't bother me, all right, because I know that someday I'll be with them. But seasons change. I remember when I lost my 2 sisters. Tell you the day, everything. When they called me at work one day and told me my oldest sister had had a massive stroke and they didn't think she'd live through the night. All right, I worked at a car dealership as a manager. I told the 2 owners, 2 brothers, I said, look, my sister had a massive stroke. They don't think she'll make it through the night. I want to get up there and be with my sister when she passes. Then one of the guys said to me, well, if she's in a coma and she's not going to come out, she won't even know you're there. I looked at him like he had 3 heads. I said, evidently you don't know what it's like or you don't care, one or the other. I said, but I'll know I'm there. I want to be there when she takes her last breath. I'm leaving. And he said, no problem. We get 110% out of you. You're always working extra hours. You're always you're running everything. He goes, no problem. Go on and go. I said, all right. Then his brother stopped me out on the sidewalk as I was going up to the other building. Said, I'm sorry for what he says. I'm not mad at him. That's him. I know how he is. I know how you are. You're two different guys, but you're both good people. I love you both. I wouldn't be working for you if I didn't. I said, I just got to get up here. He goes, you get going. If there's anything we can do. And then her dad ran out and stopped me, and he was probably in his mid-80s. And he said, Randy, I heard what's going on. He goes, hey, he shook my hand, gave me three $100 bills. I said, here, you don't have to do that. He goes, I know I don't have to do it. He goes, if you need anything, you holler at me. If you need anything when you get back, go on up, be up there with your sister. So I jumped in a truck, ran home, called my wife on the cell phone, threw everything in the truck, quickly at home, and headed for Illinois. And for the first time in my life, I never really paid attention to the speed limit. I thought, I'm going to get a ticket. I know I'm going to get a ticket, but I'm going to push it. I pushed it all the way up there. I drove 227 miles one way, and I got up there, went in, her three children with her, my brother-in-law was with her. I sat down, held her hand, I talked to her, and I was holding her hand when she took her last breath. And it made a difference to me. My heart was broken. And then they told me, it was Wednesday morning, early Wednesday morning. It was about 2 or 3 in the afternoon on Wednesday. They said, we're going to have the funeral Friday, but she just wanted a graveside service only out at the cemetery, and she wanted you, her brother, to preach it. So I stayed. I checked into a hotel, and I stayed for 3 days, and I preached her funeral. Then I met with my family. We all went out to eat. My heart was broken. I smiled. It was good to see everybody. Wouldn't you like to see everybody without having to go to a funeral? All your family members? Wouldn't you like to see your family members not only at a wedding or a funeral? And then when you get together, everybody says the same thing. We ought to get together and do something. You know, we see each other at a funeral. All right. I planned 2 or 3 get-togethers for family members. They all call the last minute and cancel out. So I'm just saying it's important to have family time, but you got to realize that in life you're going to face difficulties. There's going to be loss. You're going to lose people. Mother, father, brother, sister. I lost my brother. My brother died when I was 5. I remember quite a bit about him because he lived upstairs over us. I saw him every day. And his son was 12 years older than me. He was like my big brother. I lost him too. Matter of fact, I lost my brother-in-law and my nephew, Joe, my brother's son, less than 24 hours apart. And it was a double hit on me to lose both them. And so I loved them both dearly. But that's what death comes to everybody's doorstep. Nobody gets out of here alive. Everybody's going to die someday. You might as well face it. But you need to realize that seasons do change. And that you may be weeping tonight, but joy can come tomorrow. Things will get better, all right? Behind every eye, sometimes there's tears and we don't see them. Behind every body, there may be somebody has a soul that's hurting on the inside. Or they may be hurting emotionally. Or they may have physical pain. We don't know a lot of people. I had a guy one time that worked for me, and he was really good salesman. Really good salesman. I loved the guy. And I was glad I hired him, and he was easy to train to our system. And he was a seasoned, I usually didn't hire real seasoned salesmen because it's hard to break their old habits and get them to do the way you want it. But I just liked the guy. He felt good about me. I felt good about the interview, so I hired him. And one day I saw him in his office pushing his back up against the thing with his eyes closed, just pushing really hard. And I said to him, did you hurt your back? Oh, no, I'm good. I said, no. I said, what? You want me to rub your back? You got a problem or what? He goes, well, I don't want anybody to know. I said, okay. Well, then, okay. He goes, I'll tell you. I know you're a minister. You're not going to tell all the other guys. I just don't want sympathy from anybody. That's all right. Thank you for the water break. And I said to him, I'm sorry. I'm just a regular guy, a regular minister. I'm a retired pastor. I fill in for people, and I'm just a regular guy. I'm nothing fancy. So that may be why I don't have 100,000 subscribers or even 1,000. But anyway, he said, I hurt my back in a car wreck years ago. And he goes, I was in the Air Force for 9 years and I wound up getting riffed. In other words, they said, you got to get out because his back was so bad. He wanted to make 20 years and get his pension. And he was 9 years in, and he got hurt in a car wreck, and he had to get out of the Air Force. And so I'd asked him why he got out of the Air Force, and he said he had personal issues to deal with, and that he got an honorable discharge. He could give me a copy of it and all that. So I knew when he was in 9 years, and most people don't stay in 9 or 10 years and get out. When you're that far, you're going to do the 20 and get a pension the rest of your life. So back then, I don't know what they do now, you got 50% of your pay for the rest of your life if you put 20 in. I had one guy working for me put 31 in. When you put 30 in back then, you get 75% of your pay for the rest of your life. So, it was a good retirement. And he told me this back was really bad and that it caused him he had a surgery and had a pin or steel rod or something. Anyway, he had a bunch of stuff done to his back. He said, I'm in pain all day, every day. It never goes away. And I said, well, I'm so sorry. I said, you'd have never known. He'd been working for me about a year and a half. He goes, well, I just don't want sympathy from the guy. He said, when we're moving vehicles out there on the lot, they'll say, boy, what's wrong with you? And he goes, I'll just say, oh, I'm just kind of stiff today or whatever. He goes, I don't want them to think and I don't want you to think I can't do my job. Because we had a lot where we kept 275 to 300 new. When I took over there, they had 365 new. And we had over 100 used. We had 50 rental cars. We had a 6-acre lot. We had cars all over the place. And so we were always moving cars around, tightening the rows up because customers park them crooked and all over. And so he didn't want the guys to think. So I told him, I said, use your head. He goes, what? I said, when we're going to move the trucks out there, it's a big step up to get in them. The other cars, just park them. Whoever's lining you up, let him line you up. When you get to the truck row, tell him, hey, I'll line you guys up. Let me line one row, and then you guys, then I'll get back to driving. Then you're not telling them what's wrong with you, but you don't have to step up in those trucks and then come back down out of those 3/4 ton and 1 ton trucks. That's not going to be good for you. And he said, I never thought about that. I said, just play it cool. You can do it. They won't know. Why? Because this too shall pass. All right? We will get a new season in our life. And sometimes things are not going well for us, but God will help you, all right? Psalms 34:19 says, many are the afflictions of the righteous. The Lord wouldn't have told us we weren't going to have afflictions if we weren't going to have afflictions. Many are the afflictions of the righteous. Now, I'll get into the rest of this verse, and I know you know it and I know it, but let me do this first. Many of the afflictions of the righteous. You're going to have afflictions. They may be physical, they may be mental, they may be spiritual, they may be a combination of 2 of the 3 or all 3 of them, but you will have problems. But he said, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. The Lord will deliver you out of them all. You'll find out a way to carve a way out in life and see joy. When I lost my mother and father, I thought I'd never be happy again. But guess what? I was happy. I finally got to the point where I was. When I lost my sisters, it was really hard on me. Matter of fact, that year, my wife and I, it was the hardest year we had of our marriage. I got a call at Saturday night, and they said my cousin's wife died. And they went to our church and were members of our church, and he wanted me to preach the funeral. I said, no problem. That was like 8 o'clock Saturday night. 1 o'clock in the morning, I get a call. My brother-in-law died. They want me to come preach his funeral. It was the same day. I told my sister-in-law I'd love to do it. I love him. It would be an honor, but you're going to have to move it to a different day. I've already committed. I told her about my cousin. She said, well, let me see what I can do. They wound up calling me back, said the funeral home was booked and that it had to be that day. They could do it in the afternoon instead of the morning, but they were 250 miles from us, and I couldn't. So I lost my cousin's wife, who was like a cousin to me, and my brother-in-law the same night. And then a few weeks later, I had a nephew pass away. And then a few weeks later, I get a call about my sister. I run up to Illinois. My sister passes away. Then I come back home. I told my wife, I said, they always say it comes in threes. We had four. I said, this is unbelievable. Then 6 weeks later, her mother got real bad. My wife went over there and sat with her with hospice. They'd come in and out. They sent a nurse over and all that. My wife stayed there with her until she passed away. And we lost my mother-in-law. We had five deaths in immediate family. Then we had a church split. We had a heck of a year. I thought, man, I'll be glad when this year's over. This has just been a tough year. I preached a lot of funerals that year, too. So I told my wife, I said, seasons change. It's got to get better. I mean, they talk about threes. We've lost 5 family members in 5 months. And I said, and they come in clusters, So I said, God's going to make a way. Things are going to get better. And they did. Why? Seasons change. Life moves on. You need to move on with it. You need to remember that the Lord said you will have afflictions, but He'll help you get through them. He'll bring you through them. He'll get you out of them all. He delivers him out of them all. Not just now and then or here and there. The Lord delivers you out of it. And your problems will stop someday. The problem you're going through will end. Your child will get better because they got their cast on their leg and it's going to get all right. Your car wreck is over. You buy a new car to replace the old one that got totaled. You heal up and you move on. Yes, you will go through struggles. You will face afflictions. Any minister tells you won't's lying to you, because the Lord said right here, many are the afflictions of the righteous. Psalms 34:19. But the Lord delivers them out of them all. Whatever you're going through today, let me tell you something. The Lord can deliver you out of it. And remember what I'm telling you here. Behind every smile, sometimes people are going through much pain. And we need to realize that. We need to be in tune with people's needs and try to help them when we possibly can to lighten their load. But remember, whatever you're going through today, seasons do change. I love you. God loves you. Thank you for watching my podcast. If you get a chance, at the end of it, there'll be another video. If you want to watch it, just click on it. If not, even if you do, over there's a picture of me on the right. If you'll click on that and subscribe, it'll really help me out immensely. Won't put any money in my pocket, but it will help my channel. I want to get my channel out to as many people as I can so I can share ordinary, plain gospel out of a plain guy who's been a minister for, I think this year's my 50th year. I think it is. I have to look it up. It's either 49 or 50. New Year's Eve night, the 31st of December, was my first sermon I preached in front of a congregation. And I think it was this year. I'll look it up. Anyway, it doesn't matter to you. But 49 or 50 years doesn't matter. But I preached a long time, and I'm telling you, seasons change. God loves you. I want to thank you for your time. This time till next time, old Rev May signing off. I want you to have a wonderful day, and remember, seasons change.